Good. So go ahead and come to a comfortable seat or easy pose. You can join me in easy pose or whatever pose is easy for you. If you find your knees flaring upwards, I highly encourage you to grab a block or a folded blanket and place that under your sit bones. This will give you some lift and allow you to lengthen the spine. So let's just sit here, root in through the sit bones, lengthen the spine, lifting through the crown of the head, and come to our center, closing our eyes or softening the gaze. And just take a moment to arrive here on your mat today. Simply observe without any judgment, connecting to your breath, observing your physical body, observing your energetic bodies, and breathing. Today we're going to focus on the sacral chakra, our Svadhisthana. Sva is Sanskrit for self or one's own. Adhisthana is Sanskrit for established and secure, or a dwelling place. And together they translate to a dwelling place of the self or one's own abode. So one way to help ignite the fire of the sacral chakra is through the Ujjayi breath. And the Ujjayi breath is something that can be practiced in any yoga practice. It's a very meditative breath. You can use it while walking, sitting at a desk, or watching TV. So what we're going to do is place one hand on the lower belly, just below the navel. Inhale, and notice the flow of the air as it comes in the nostrils, down the throat, and into the belly. Nice long inhale. And then to exhale, this time we'll open our mouth with a loosened jaw and ha it out, as if you're fogging up a window. And you'll feel the lower belly tense up here. So again, inhale through the nostrils, feeling the air go down the throat into the belly, and then ha it out. Very good. So we're going to continue to breathe like that. Inhale. And then on this exhale, if you can leave the jaw open, but close the lips. It creates an oceanic sound. Inhale nice and long, and then exhale. So I invite you to welcome this breath throughout the entire practice. Let's inhale the arms up overhead, reaching tall for the sky. Exhale, twisting to your right. Opposite hand to knee. As you inhale, lengthen, and exhale, twisting. Connected to the breath. Gently release. Inhale back to the center, hands overhead. Exhale, twisting to your left. Opposite hand on knee. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, wringing out those internal organs for a good detoxification here. And release to center. Inhale, hands up overhead. Navel in and up, chest open, and gently release. So let's stretch out our neck first. So staying in our seated position, just tilt the head gently to the right, placing the fingertips on the temple for a little bit of pressure, and then opposite hand stretches long towards the floor. The fingertips may or may not touch. We're looking for a stretch that feels good to your neck here. Connected to the breath, maybe even taking that hand that's reached out for a half bind behind the back, seeing how that feels on the neck. And then from here, you can tilt the chin up or down, left and right, just noticing any sticky spots or places that you can pause at that feel good. And gently release, tilting the head to the other side. Fingertips gently press on the temple, reaching long with the opposite hand, finding that stretch. Connected to the breath, spine is tall. And then finding that half bind if you did it on the other side. Your sides may be different. And then again, moving the chin with these little micro movements that make a big difference. Noticing what feels good. And then gently release. And then take your fingertips to the back of your head. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and then exhale, rounding out the neck and the back for a nice stretch in the back of the neck. Breathing through, just a gentle tug, and then gently release. Now, why don't you meet me in tabletop, hands directly below the shoulders, knees directly below hips. Your index finger or pointer finger is pointed straight ahead off the top of your mat. And we'll go into some cat-cows. Inhale, lifting the head and the tail, allowing the belly to lower rather than just drop. Exhale, rounding out the back, dipping the head and tail down. And then inhale again to your cow. Exhale. And continue to move with the cadence of your breath here. It may be slower or faster than mine. And through this practice, I will give a lot of verbal cues. I encourage you to listen to your body first and my cues second. I also encourage you to follow my voice more than my body. I want you to focus in on your own practice. I will be demonstrating, but that's just for a quick reference. I really want you to tune into your practice today. And as you move here, maybe welcome any bilateral movements with the hips, maybe some hip circles in one direction or the other, maybe even a forward and backward, just finding freedom in this pose. The sacral chakra is the chakra of creativity. So as we move through the poses, be creative. Your transitions may be different than mine. Do what feels good to your body. Okay, so when that feels complete, tuck the toes and rolling up to the balls of your feet. Maybe getting a calf stretch while you're down here, and then standing at the front of the mat. It is morning here, so we're going to go through a few sun salutations just to warm up our bodies. So let's inhale our hands up overhead, palms together. Exhale, fold at the waist, slicing the air in front of you, all the way down. Inhale, lift halfway, reaching through the crown of the head to the opposite wall. Exhale, planting the hands down on the mat and stepping back to your plank. You can always bring knees down for your plank. Take a big inhale here, and on the exhale, slowly, as slow as you can, lower down. Again, dropping the knees if you need. Inhale, lift up to a baby cobra or full cobra, maybe up dog, yogi's choice here. And then exhale, tucking the toes, lifting the tail up and back for downward facing dog. So let's take a moment here, pedal your feet, walk your dog. Again, finding freedom in this pose. Being mindful of the grip, gripping down with first all 10 finger pads, then the knuckles just underneath the fingers, and last but not least, the bottom of the palm will give you a nice strong grip, pressing before firmly away from you. Maybe put a bend at the knee and then lift the tail to the ceiling. From here, find that long line. Your spine is nice and strong here. From this strong position, then start to lower the heels to the ground. They may or may not touch. The length and the strength is in the spine here. On your next exhale, come to your toes, maybe bend your knees, and tiptoe walk or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the spine as you lift halfway. Exhale, fold. And then inhale all the way up. Hands overhead, palms touch. Exhale, folding at the waist, slicing the air in front, all the way down. Inhale, lifting halfway, reaching through. Shoulder blades are squeezing together behind you on your spine. Exhale, fold, allowing the hands to kiss the ground as we step back for plank. Inhale, nice long inhale here. And then exhale, maybe all the way down to the belly, maybe chaturanga if it's in your practice. Inhale up to a back bend of yogi's choice. Exhale, curling the toes, pressing the tail up and back for your downward dog. Very good. Organize your hands, your feet. Find that length in your spine. And on your next inhale, bring that right foot up and back, keeping the toes flexed and the hips square to the floor. Exhale, knee to nose as you rock forward. Inhale, bring that leg back. And then exhale, knee to nose, but step it all the way through to the middle of your hands as we prepare for warrior two. On your inhale, ground in through your feet and lift up. So in warrior two, the front heel is directly in line with the arch of the back foot. So lift from here. Our shoulders are tracked directly above our hips. Sometimes we have a tendency to lean forward in this pose, but we want to stand up nice and tall. And on the inhale, lengthen the spine as if someone's pulling you by a string from your crown. And then exhale, bending in that front knee. Making sure the knee is directly over the ankle or behind it. You want to protect your knee, never in front there. Take a few rounds of breath here. Arms are parallel to the ground. Gaze is directly over your right fingertips. On your next inhale, flip the front palm and high five the back wall for reverse warrior as your back hand slides down your back leg. Taking a few rounds of breath here. Notice how the breath opens the rib cage, opens the belly. Notice the breath. And release back to warrior. Inhale, lengthen the spine here, and then exhale for your extended side angle pose. Your left arm comes down and around at a diagonal, bicep towards the ear. You're creating a nice long line between fingertips to the blade edge of the foot. And then, if you can, on the exhale, twisting the torso up towards the ceiling, the gaze is looking at the palm of that lifted hand. Navel is in and up, legs are grounding in, rooting to the earth. Find that strength in this pose. And release, coming back up to center. And let's step in our stance about halfway as we prepare for half moon pose. So from here, taking a look at that front right foot, pinky edge off center to the pinky side, and about 2 footprints in front of that foot. Find the place on the ground. If you use a block, you can grab your block here, or you can use your hand and place your fingertips or a block on that spot as you bend that front knee. From here, spreading those toes on the right foot nice and wide for a strong foundation. Engage the thigh as you Slowly plug in the thigh to the hip bone and begin to straighten your leg. Your left leg automatically pops up behind you. This may be your half moon. Now it's a little bit easier to find your hand placement. It should be directly below the shoulder. You want to flex that lifted leg, flexing the foot, plugging in the thigh to the hip bone, and maybe lifting it as if you're standing on the wall behind you. Toes are pointed away. If you have your balance here, you can inhale, lifting the left hand to the sky. My gaze is to the ground. Your gaze can be on the ground, or it can be up towards the ceiling or anywhere in between. That will add a little bit of challenge to the pose. Inhale, lengthen the spine, opening the chest and the heart. If you fall out, just hop back in. And take a few rounds of breath, feeling the strength, the balance, and the expansion in this pose. When you feel complete, on an exhale, release by bending your stabilizing leg and coming up to your warrior one. Inhale, arms up. Take a few rounds of breath as you inhale, cinch up the ribs, navel in and up. And on an exhale, lower the hands down and step back to your downward facing dog. Very good. So just take a moment here, grounding in through the hands, pushing the ground firmly away, and noticing the difference between the left and right sides. Noticing any subtle changes that's happened in your body physically and energetically. And then when you're ready, on the next inhale, lifting that left leg up and back, toes flexed, hips square to the floor. Exhale, knee to nose as we slide forward. Inhale, that leg goes up and back one more time. And then exhale, knee to nose as we step it between our front palms. Grounding in, our back heel comes down to the ground. The blade edge of the back foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. Spreading the toes, rooting in, lifting up for your warrior two. Arms are parallel. Shoulders are stacked over hips. Our shoulder blades are squeezing together on our back. Imagine pinching someone's finger with your shoulder blades. Inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, bend in that front knee. Again, tracking it directly over the ankle. Gaze is over your left fingertips. And on an inhale, flip that front palm, high five the back wall as your right hand slides down your leg. Breathing deeply here. Inhaling, allowing the breath to fill the cavity of the torso. And on the exhale, maybe sinking in a little bit more. Taking a few rounds of breath here, siphoning that grounding energy from the earth. And then release, come back to your warrior two. Take a breath here, elongate the spine on the inhale. And then exhale, bring the elbow to the knee. And loop the arm down and around, or any creative way you feel to find your extended side angle pose. Again, we're creating length between the tips of our fingers all the way down through the body to the blade edge of the foot. If it's available, begin to twist the torso towards the ceiling. Gaze is underneath that palm. Take a few rounds of breath here. Lengthening the spine with each inhale. And when that feels complete, come back to standing, hands on hips. And we'll shorten our stance again about halfway as we prepare for half moon pose. So looking at the ground, the pinky edge side of the foot and about 2 footprints up, I find my spot. I bend my knee and I touch that space with my fingertips. I spread the toes in my left foot, preparing to ground in. I engage my thigh and begin to straighten that leg as my right leg automatically comes up for the pose. Again, this may be your bus stop. If you want to keep going, flex the foot, plug in the floating leg to the hip socket, and lift it as if you're standing on the wall behind you. Your legs are towards a 90-degree angle. Your toes are pointed away from your body. Breathing, connecting to the breath. If you fall out, hop back in, building from the foundation up. If you find your balance here, inhale, lifting the right hand up, reaching for the sky. On each inhale, lengthen the spine, opening the heart, finding this beautiful expansion in this pose, taking up as much space as you can. And after a few rounds of breath, when you feel complete here, bending that knee, landing on the back foot, rising the arms for warrior one. Take a moment here on the inhale, reaching high, zipping up the corset of the torso. And then exhale, hands down, back for your downward facing dog. Let's bring the knees to the mat for a moment. Heels together, knees wide, and just sit back on your heels. Walk the hands for a nice child's pose. Kind of have a introverted moment here as you notice what's happening in the body, taking a rest in your little cocoon. Coming back to that Ujjayi breath. And when you feel complete here, walking the hands up and coming, curling your toes, standing up. And we'll turn to the long edge of the mat here. Preparing for goddess pose. Standing with the feet wider than hips width apart. Toes are about a 45-degree angle, pointed towards the corners of the mat. We're gonna inhale the arms up, reaching tall. Our corset is zipped up. Navel is in and up. Our chest is open. Our shoulder blades are squeezed together on the back of our spine. Our legs are engaged. Our thighs are plugged in. Rooting down through all 5 toes and 4 corners of the feet. On the exhale, come down to your goddess pose, squeezing those shoulder blades even more together as you cactus the arms, sinking into this pose. Tailbone is slightly tucked, chest is open. Come back to the Ujjayi breath. And then gently release, standing back up, bringing the hands to hips. Pivot on the heels, bringing the toes straight ahead, knees pointed in the same direction. Inhale, lifting from the bowl of the pelvis with the spine out the crown of the head. And then exhale, bending at the waist. There's a micro bend in the knees here. Fold halfway. Inhale, lengthen through the crown. Your hands can be on your shins here. And then exhale, release all the way down. So depending on how wide your legs are, the wider your legs are, the closer the ground is. So just fold in on each exhale a little bit more. There can also be a micro bend or a bigger bend in the knee, whatever your body needs. If the ground is close enough, you can maybe touch the crown of your head to the floor or come to your tripod headstand if that's in your practice. Otherwise, just allow your body to hang. Allow the blood to flow to the crown of the head. And simply breathe, utilizing your ujjayi breath, inhaling through the nostrils, and then the oceanic exhale. Very nice. So let's inhale, coming up about halfway, fingertips or palms are on the ground. You can also use a block here to bring the earth closer to you. You could also widen your stance to bring the ground closer. So take your right hand and place it directly in front of your face. Inhale, lengthen the spine, shooting from the crown of the head. And then exhale, sinking into this pose, allowing the hips to open up in the back. And on your next inhale, peel the left arm up to the sky, creating a twist. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twisting. Do a few rounds of breath here. If you want to intensify the twist, you can bring your right hand to your left ankle for more of a twist, opening up the back leg. Yogi's choice here. On your next exhale, gently release back to center. Take another inhale, re-lengthen that spine, find your center opening the back of the legs, bringing the left hand directly in front of the face. On your inhale, peeling the right hand up, reaching for the sky. And breathing, moving with your breath. And if you did on the other side, bring the hand to the ankle. Maybe you can do it on this side. Maybe not. Sometimes our sides are very different. And after a few rounds of breath, and you feel complete here, coming back to center. Now let's walk our hands to our left side for Skandasana. So my right toes are pointed towards the ceiling. My left leg is bent. Sometimes the heel may be on the ground or you may be on the ball of your feet. It really depends on your biology here. But from here, we can walk out the hands, lengthening the spine, just stretching out here. And maybe even walking them in for prayer hands. This is more of a balance. Or get creative here, maybe even a bind here. Whatever your body's calling. Maybe it's just simply having the hands down on the ground for support. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, sink in. And let's release that side, walk over to our right side, bending the right knee, left toes pointed towards the ceiling, and then walking out the hands, reaching, moving with the breath, connecting with the breath. Walking the hands back in, lengthening, maybe trying a prayer hand here, or even a bind. This side for me is completely different than the other side. Maybe even opening the chest towards the sky and gently release, coming through center and finding your way to child's pose. Heels together, knees apart, and we'll walk our hands out, reaching the fingertips to the opposite wall. Maybe your hands go down beside you and your forehead to the ground. Whatever you need, connecting back to the breath. When you're ready, we're going to walk out to our bellies, lying on the belly. And we'll come up to Sphinx pose for now. So from here, imagine first lifting your spine out straight ahead and then up, opening the heart and the chest. The legs are engaged, the toes are pointed, the thighs, spiraling a little bit, pressing the inner thighs towards the ground energetically. Lifting through the crown of the head, opening the chest, finding that length in the spine. Navel is in and up, very cinched in here. And then gently release for rest. And let's bring the hands below the shoulders and then inhale up for cobra or baby cobra. Again, the navel is in and up, creating space between the tops of our shoulders and the earlobes, pressing firmly through all four corners of the hand. And release. Very good. Now we're going to take our hands down by our side, and on the inhale, lifting the head and chest and arms, and then maybe lifting the legs, maybe even the thighs begin to come off. Breathing, connecting back to that breath. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. Nice work. So we're going to do that again. You can do locust pose like we did, or you can try Superman. So inhale, lifting the arms above the head or in front of the face, legs up, thighs engaged, toes pointed, taking a breath here and release. And now maybe we'll try again, reaching back the left arm to the left ankle for a half bow. So inhale, kicking that foot into the hand on the left side. And release. We'll do the other side. Right hand reaches for the right foot. Left arm goes straight. And on the inhale, lifting everything you can here. Kicking the foot into the hand also creates another element of lift in the legs. And release. And we'll try it with both hands. Reaching back, both hands, grabbing the tops of the foot. And on the inhale, lifting, kicking the foot into the hands, opening the chest. Gaze is towards the wall in front of you, slightly up. And breathing here, knees are coming together. You don't want them to splay apart. They're working towards each other. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, release. Good work. So let's come back through. Find another child's pose. Stretching out that low back. Maybe even rocking side to side. And then we'll sit up, bringing the ankles to one side and your feet in front of you. And we'll do a boat pose here. There are many ways to do boat. You can have your hands behind you for support as you lift your legs. Your legs can be bent or straight. You want to make sure your spine stays straight. We don't want it to curl in. So if you find yourself with like lifted legs, but your spine is curling, you might want to bring your legs down so you can lift through your chest here. So I'm going to find my boat pose somewhere around here. Nice big inhale and exhale. And on the next inhale, see if you can straighten out your legs and lower just a little bit Inhale back to center. And continue to do this, moving with your breath at your cadence. We'll do 3 more. And then placing the legs on the ground, straightening them, keeping zombie arms. Inhale the spine nice and long. And then slowly roll back 1 vertebra at a time, as if you're lying a string of pearls on the table. Very good. And then lift hands overhead, stretching nice and long. So let's come back up to a seated position and come into deer pose. So if you don't know what deer pose is, you have your right shin lined up with the long edge of your mat and your left ankle behind you. Just sitting with your ankles towards one side. Depending on your biology, it may look a little different. Find one that's comfortable for you, where you can feel like you can sit nice and tall with the spine. So I'm taking my right hand behind me just for a kickstand support. And I'm gonna inhale, lifting my left hand up and back. My gaze follows my hand. And then if you have it in your practice, maybe keep going, lifting the hips, stretching and opening that torso, opening the hips. And then exhale, slowly coming down and releasing. We'll do that again. Inhale, lift, lift, lift. Open, feeling that expansion. And release. And continue to do this to your breath for several rounds. Feeling the openness, taking up space. Connecting with your breath, finding your cadence. And finish the round you're on, coming back to center. And then taking the left ankle that's behind you, bringing it around to the front. Maybe you cross it over, or maybe you come to shoelace pose, which you essentially just keep bringing it over until the knees are stacked on top of each other. They may be almost stacked, or if this is not in your practice, simply cross the legs. This is an intense hip opener. This is something that's great to work on a little bit each day if you have tight hips, but don't overdo it. I encourage you to find your edge, but don't go over. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Hands are grabbing the toes. And just again, connect to the breath, feeling the fire in the hips here. Bringing the Ujjayi breath back to your practice. On the exhale, noticing how the lower belly contracts. On your next exhale, maybe even tipping forward just a little bit. Each exhale, tipping in a little bit more until you find your edge, keeping the spine straight. And then when you've reached your edge, maybe allow your spine to round out and head to drop wherever you are. And gently releasing, coming back to the center. So now we're taking our right ankle behind us. Our left shin is parallel to the front edge of the mat. In our deer pose on the other side, we're taking the left hand behind us as a kickstand Inhaling the right arm up and over, our gaze follows. We keep going until maybe our hips lift off the ground, opening up our torso. Exhale, release all the way down. Inhale, bringing it back up, opening, finding that expansion. Release on the exhale. And again, continue to move with your breath. It may be faster or slower than mine. Finding your own pace, at your own cadence. And really focusing on how the breath expands the torso, expands the belly. And when you complete your last round, taking your time, meeting me back to center. Then we'll take the right leg, bring it around. Again, crossing the legs here or continuing to pull the right leg around until our knees are stacked on top of each other. For shoelace pose, hands grabbing the toes. We're rooted in through both sit bones. And just connecting back to the breath here. Always remembering that the breath is the most important. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Allowing to reach for the sky with the crown of your head. Relaxing the shoulders. And then exhale, maybe tipping forward with a straight spine. Just a little bit. Noticing the fire that gets created with the smallest movement in this pose. Noticing the contraction of the lower belly with the Ujjayi breath exhale. Finding your edge here. And then when you feel complete on the last exhale, allowing the head to lower, the spine to round. Taking a few moments here. And then gently using your hands to walk back to center. And we'll untwist our legs. Come to a seated position with our feet extended in front of us. Maybe even pulling the flesh away from the sit bones, allowing to ground in and lifting through the spine. It's more important that your spine is straight here than your legs. If you need to put a bend in your legs to get that lift and length in the spine, please do so. Remembering that the head is also an extension of the spine. Inhale, lengthen. Your fingertips or palms may come to the ground depending on the length of your arms. And then on the next inhale, bringing the arms overhead, reaching with the fingertips. And then exhale, folding at the waist, keeping the spine as straight as possible as you fold over your legs. Maybe your hands come to your shins. Maybe they come to the blade edge of your feet. Maybe they're on your mat. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, lowering the chest, keeping the head elevated. Bringing the Ujjayi breath back if you've lost it. Noticing the oceanic sound move through your body as the navel, as the belly area contracts on the exhale, assisting you in that fold. And then allowing your head to drop and your back to round out. Maybe putting a deeper bend in the knees as you fold forward. Feeling a stretch down the whole spine. Inhale, using your hands to walk back up to center. Crossing the left knee over the right leg. Inhale, lifting the right arm, and then twisting to your left. So that knee and the elbow are going to find each other. This will help you with your twist. Inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, twisting in. Again, finding that length in the spine, and then wringing out those internal organs with the twist. Coming back to the breath. And gently release back to center. Crossing the opposite leg over. Inhaling the arm up. And then exhaling, twisting to your right. The elbow comes to the outside of the knee to assist with that twist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twisting. Maybe even looking over your right shoulder. Noticing the lower belly as it contracts on the exhale. And then gently release. Now lying down on your back, hugging in your knees, giving yourself a nice big hug here. Maybe rocking back and forth. And then straightening the legs. Taking the left leg towards straight. You may bend your knee, it may be straight. And then clasping your hands together behind that thigh and finding a wrist stretch here. Allow the leg to push against the palms and the fingers, stretching out the wrists. We've used them a lot today. And then bend the knee, lower it down. Right leg comes up towards straight. Clasping the hands again with the opposite finger on top, just to mix up that clasp. It will feel really weird. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, stretching out those wrists. Connecting to the breath here. And bending the knee, releasing. And then maybe find a happy baby, knees to armpits, and hands grabbing the outside edges of the foot. Maybe you're grabbing your shins here, whatever is available for you. And then if it feels good, rock back and forth, pressing the entire spine towards the earth, even down towards the tailbone there, and rocking, allowing the ground to massage the spine. And any last minute moves you may need, whether straightening your legs nice and wide, stretching, and then we'll come to a Shavasana and just marinate and absorb all the work we've done with a little body scan. So your feet are wider than your hips and they're splayed open. Your palms are facing the ceiling and they're wider than your shoulders. And maybe even pressing on the head just to get a little lift in the chest, to squeeze the shoulder blades together just a little bit to open the heart. And relax here with an open heart. For a little body scan, we'll take a few minutes here. Connecting back to your breath, but allowing yourself to breathe naturally, unforced, in whatever way feels good. Relaxing from head to toe, starting with the top of your head, relaxing your scalp, releasing any tension in your forehead and eyebrows, relaxing all the muscles around and behind the eyes, relaxing the ears, releasing any tension in the face and the lips. If the tongue is at the roof of the mouth, maybe release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Relax the neck, the front of the neck, the back of the neck, where the neck is attached to the body, around the shoulders, the chest, the back of the shoulders and the shoulder blades. Releasing any tension in your biceps, your triceps, releasing the elbow joints, relaxing the forearms, the wrists, relaxing the palms of the hands and the backs of the hands, releasing all tension in the thumbs and each finger individually. Relaxing the chest, releasing any tension in the stomach and the back, releasing the low back, the hips and the pelvis. Release any tension where the legs meet the pelvis. Releasing the fronts of the thighs, the backs of the thighs, relaxing the knees, the kneecaps, the backs of the knees. Releasing any tension in the shins, the calves, the ankles, the arches of the feet, releasing any tension in the tops of the feet, and all of the toes individually, one by one. Continue to breathe and allow yourself to melt into your mat like melted butter. And when you're ready, you can begin to bring some movement to your fingertips, your toes, rolling your wrists and your ankles. Maybe sliding your legs up, rolling to your favorite side, and coming to a comfortable seat. You can meet me in easy pose or whatever is easy for you. And just again, come back to the breath. Observe the body, physical body, the energetic bodies. When you can come to your center and observe your breath, you honor your physical body and your energetic bodies. You create a space to feel safe and secure within the comfort of yourself. Take a moment and honor the effort you have given to yourself in your practice today. Inhale, reaching the hands for the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll do one more inhale together. Exhale, chin to chest. Namaste. All right, thank you. I hope you enjoyed your practice and have a fantastic day. And hopefully I'll see you next Monday. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or email me.